Hello and welcome back to UK4UKR. It's the second journey that we've done, dropping off aid at the border with Ukraine and with refugees and taking them where they need to go in Europe. I hear back this morning from Francis. He was the guy that I met at the humanitarian aid centre in Medica a couple of weeks ago. He was the guy who said, "You're that bloke off the internet, aren't you?" And I was like, "Well, you're that bloke off YouTube." And apparently he was a big Brexiteer. We still watch my Three Blokes in the Pub videos. And he said, I don't agree with anything that you said, but, you know, I liked your videos. They asked important questions or something. Anyway, Francis had been, and his wife had been taking people around Europe, and they've just done a run to Portugal. It sounds quite interesting. So I might find out what he's been up to. Just a little side note. Sorry, I was talking when we crossed the border. Hello, Martin. I think I crossed the border. Sorry, just before I crossed the border, I was just saying I had made Facebook friends with Victoria, and her Facebook is all in Cyrillic. So in order to find her, in order to friend her, I had to basically take my phone, change the settings on it. So now I have a Cyrillic keyboard on my phone, which is really exciting. If I swipe on my space bar, it swipes between Roman lettering and Cyrillic lettering. This is really cool. I was thinking of maybe putting some other letter forms on there. You know, you could have Greek, you could have Armenian, you could have Ethiopian, which looks like little dancing men. My favourite writing alphabet is the Ethiopian alphabet. And Burmese, the Myanmar, the language of Myanmar, is beautiful. It's little circles, lots of little circles. Like everything's made of a circle. It's really cute. It's all circular, spirals and circles. Anyway, so I might just have a full range of different alphabets on my phone in the future. We'll see how things go. Anyway, so I was just talking about Francis for a second. The reason why I brought Francis up is not just because he wrote to me this morning with an update. It's because I do realise that we have managed to raise a lot of money doing this, and we haven't spent half of it yet, I don't think. I'll have to check my accounts when we get home. But let's take, for instance, this journey. The big expense has been fuel, obviously. And on top of that, there has been one night at a hotel for 7 people. So obviously that wasn't free, unfortunately. The other times I stayed at a friend's house and I slept in the van for the other 3 nights. So basically we're trying to keep the costs down as much as possible. There was a bit of medical kit that I took to the border, which was quite expensive, but the humanitarian aid, the nappies were donated so kindly by Marina, my friend in Germany, and the clothes that I took, the children's clothes, and some of the other things like the pushchairs, which were really, really, they were very thankful about the pushchairs and also the child car seats for babies. Because obviously, if you've got a baby, you might be able to get a lift, but unless they've got a baby seat in the car, you can't take the baby. It's a bit crap, that's just the way it is. And that was kindly donated by Tracy. Well, actually, it was donated by the good people of York, who had donated them to the York Food Bank there, and they were forwarded on to me via Tracy, who was one of Chris Bossie's mates, on Bear's mates. So it really does feel like there's a lot of us all working together on this. Paolo, obviously, to Italy, and Kieran, obviously, working away in the background, and obviously Chris, who came with me last time. And there's also a lot of people who want to get involved. So when I get home, I'm going to have a sleep. And then when I wake up next day, tomorrow, I am going to try and essentially, I don't know how successful this will be, but essentially set things up so we can have other drivers. So basically, I don't have to do this. I mean, I'll keep doing it myself, but we can get more people out there arrange transportation, arrange for them to pick up things to take to the border from the local area, and be collected at food banks or the schools or whatever, and get them out there and make sure that they've got money to cover fuel costs, food along the way, and a hotel to keep for the refugees to stay in for one night or possibly two, depending on how far across Europe you're going to drive, passage through the Channel Tunnel, all that kind of stuff, because obviously all those costs amount up, and it is unfair to put them on one person and say, just because this one has the time to do this doesn't mean they should have to pay for it as well. So we can use some of the money from UK4UKR.com in order to allow more journeys to take place. I don't know if people are going to want to live stream as they drive. It isn't the easiest thing to do, and obviously we're trying to pay attention to the road and also make sure your live cast is working properly, that people can hear you and see you. It's difficult. Hi there, you already passed Utrecht, says Nico. Yes, Nico, I was there this morning at 11 o'clock. I was in the big shopping mall at the central station with the two families of refugees that I brought over from the border with Ukraine, and I dropped them off there, and they're waiting for their friend to arrive. So Victoria said to me, look, you don't have to hang around, we'll be fine. She'll message me when they get there, and then we'll sort it. But she said, you've still got a very long way to go, and I'm like, yeah, going to Durham somehow. And I've got to get this van back to Kieran. Kieran's going to kill me. That's a bloody tip. It's an absolute tip in here at the moment. Wasn't as bad as it was on Sunday night, but still, the frontier is a lot left to be desired. But also as well, I mean, trying to hook people up with dates they can travel out and contingency plans if things don't go quite as expected. Another thing that was expensive on this journey was the insurance for the van. Temporary insurance cost £80. Yeah. Oh, I first of all, I couldn't get it. Did I tell you this? Literally couldn't get insurance, right? Because I was using my Liverpool address. So I used my Durham address instead, and it let me have insurance. How bad is that? Pretty bad. Canal, thank you very much for the Singaporean dollars. You're terrible. You're terrible with audio. Oh, thanks, mate. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to have a little fader on the some little slides on here to sorry, mixing desk? Do you want me to have a mixing desk on the dashboard? I'm driving on a motorway. I've got a mic set up here, but from the playbacks that I've had, I've hit some clicking noises. I think that's my phone. As simple as that. I think I've got a really old phone. It is the hard drive's nearly full. I have to do a memory wipe before I start doing these live casts. So I basically need a new phone. they do it on purpose. They make older phones not work properly like what they should. But this lapel mic should sound fine. I mean, it's a decent mic. They're not cheap. It's the Rode Smart Labs. Super sticker, thank you very much. For €10. Character on floor, laughing really hard. Okay, well, quite funny. Sounds okay to me, says Chris. Yes, Chris, but you are not a sound engineer. Canal is a proper sound engineer. So it sounds like a dog's dinner to him. I'm probably on the playback, it probably sounds pretty bad to me as well, but I can't hear, obviously, while it's recording, so I just have to rely on you lovely people out there in the internet world to tell me if you can hear me all right. If I don't sound like a bag of old bolts. Right. Stay on this road for another 8 kilometers. Do you know what? I might as well pull over again and get some more. Get a big bottle of water or something. It's pretty warm out today. Only it's raining in the UK. So So I left the families in the shopping centre in the central station, near the central station, and then yeah, I got on the road, pulled over, so do it safely, and turned my phone. Had a quick chat with Kieran. He sorted me out with tickets for the travel tunnel. Well, a ticket for the travel tunnel. The travel tunnel? Channel tunnel. It's been a long drive, and I'll be hopefully getting there around 10 to 4. I told Kieran I'd be there at 20 past 3, but then when I stopped to start the live stream going, it was there was quite a lot of stuff to do, and also I had to buy some screen wash because we were out of. They couldn't find any water. I was like, wait, where's the water? I just want some water in the screen wash. And they were like, yeah, there's water outside. I went and looked, there was no water. Get air, not water. So I was like, I'll sod it. I'll buy some screen wash. At an expense. And yeah, I opened up the bonnet, flipped open the little container, you know, for putting the screen wash in. It's on the left, isn't it? It's always on the left. As you're looking at the engine, it's always on the left, right? Right? Not on this van. It's on the right. What I had opened was the coolant water, which you don't want to put screen wash in. Trust me on this one. So before I made a big error, I closed off the coolant water. And yeah, put the soapy screen wash on. Got it all over my hands, which isn't great. And then I had a sandwich. And I licked my fingers. Yeah. So if I turn blue or something, or mushrooms start growing out my face, you'll know why. European flies are sought after in the UK. No screen wash needed. Well, what I normally do is just put water in, maybe put a squeeze of washing up liquid in there. Oh, Kieran's donated the train crossing. Oh, thanks, Kieran. Absolute legend. I'll never look at my Honda in the same way again. Oh, good little Honda. Good little Honda. Good little runner. So we've managed to do a good run to the border with this. Put another few thousand kilometres on the clock. It's beginning to look a lot like a traffic jam. We're in Antwerp. We just hit Antwerp. Oh, hello. Hello. Just got to change lanes. All right, mate. Bit of water next time, eh, Mr. Chocolate? Just nearly got sideswiped by a big chocolate truck carrying chocolate. Oh, no. Simon. Maybe trouble ahead. Now, what I learned from Kieran. No, Kieran? No, what I learned from Chris was that when. Was it Kieran? Was it Chris? I think it was Chris. That when you're in a traffic jam, I think it's in Germany, but it might be in other countries as well, you've got to make a lane for the emergency vehicles. That means putting a couple of tyres on the last version, so you've got to do. So everyone sort of makes a lane so the emergency vehicles can get through. So it's quite cool. I have to have a bath when I get home. I'm not getting home. Get this, I'm not getting home until 7 past midnight if I make my train from London. And it's not a direct train. I have to change Leeds. I can't just fall asleep on the train. So I'm going to get in at 7 minutes past midnight. I'm not going to force Kat to come pick me. I'll just get a taxi home. Oh, I'd say I'll have a bath when I get in, but I won't. I'll just collapse. I'll just fall asleep. Sleep for a week. Enjoy the Kennedy Tunnel, says Kieran. Is this the John F. Kennedy Tunnel? John F. Kennedy Tunnel. The man who famously came to Germany and told everyone he was a donut. You'll know when you get there. Is it a George Kennedy Tunnel? Yeah, I just go past. So take a crash up my head. That's not gonna improve matters for my ETA. So it comes up there now. I just got a message from Victoria actually saying she's been picked up, so that's good. That's good news. It's a tunnel of much traffic. Okay, maybe it's coming up then. Sorry, I'm just going to ignore the camera for a bit. I've got to concentrate on changing lanes. Massive confabulation of cars. Antwerpen Zuid. So, by the way, if anyone's thinking of doing this and they want gift card, there's a limit on how much data you're allowed to stream in Europe. It's 20 gigabytes. Okay. And the mad thing is that even if you pay like loads for like unlimited internet in the UK, it's still limited to 20 gigabytes when you're in Europe. It's a bit shit. Right, I can go straight along here for another 54 kilometers. My ETA in Calais keeps slipping. It's now 3:45. Sorry, Kieran. I'll tell you something else that's a bit crap. The 90-day limit. I'm only allowed to be in Europe for 90 days. So if I end up doing a lot more of these journeys, then it's going to be a huge issue in the future, because it means that, like, say for instance, I'm supposed to go to visit my family in Denmark this summer, and it'll be the first trip that me and Kat and the kids have had out of the country for 2 years, because more than 2 years, 3 years, because of COVID, and I might not be able to go because I've spent too much time out of the country because of Brexit. But you know, the fact that I'm restricted from helping refugees as much as I would like is actually you know, it's actually what makes the gammon folk happy. That's all that makes them happy. Drinking the bitter Ramona tears, etc. I hope this isn't a traffic jam all the way to Calais. What fish and chip shops are going to do is they'll half the fish. You pay £6 for it, but it'll be half the fish. Just cut in half. Dip them in batter so it looks like there's low, you know, it looks like bigger than it actually is. So it's going to be like 90% batter, a little bit tiny fish in the middle of it. That's what we're going to do. Andre's asking how he can help. Andre, how are you doing? Yeah, you can head over to UK4UKR.com, so UK number 4, UKR as in Ukraine.com, and on there is different ways of donating. There is either Just Giving, or you can donate by PayPal, or you can donate using the PayPal link, but with any major credit or debit card. And I guarantee that the money that you give, not only will it all go to helping people in Ukraine, the people, refugees fleeing Ukraine, it will also help. It will also you'll also see where the money's actually going. We're going to live stream and tweet and live blog and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook our way through this, and as much as possible show you where your money is going, what it's being spent on. Because I mean, it's a frustration I think that a lot of people share when you give money to a charity, you give money towards something, and you don't really know where it's going. I mean, it's nice giving money, obviously, and you get that sort of good feeling about helping out in some way, but inquiring minds wish to know what money, where the money is being spent. So when I was raising money for WaterAid, I got to see a few of their projects as I was traveling around the world, India and Africa, certain African countries. And that was nice. And seeing and sort of agreeing with how the money was being used, which is a big thing for me as well. There's no point in a slum in India, there's no point just putting some toilets in, which is what the Indian government will do, because the Indians won't know how to use them. They won't know why they need to use them. They don't really understand the concept of, well, it's the same about Indians in general. I'm talking about Indians living in a slum. Don't really understand the concept, might not necessarily understand the concept of hygiene and sanitation. And these toilets that the government put in, like 3 toilets to like 500,000 people, generally ended up being used for something else, like storage or somewhere to keep the goats at night or whatever. So the main thing for WaterAid was that it wasn't good enough just bringing water and sanitation to these places. They needed to teach people. They needed to teach people why water and sanitation are important. So they have volunteers going into communities all over the world and teaching people why they need to wash their hands, why they need to, because they make sure that they don't just leave raw effluent on the ground for people to step in, etc., etc. So yeah, that was good. So in that vein, I like the idea of taking you on the journey with us. But obviously, we're a little bit limited in what we can show you when we actually are at the refugee centre when we pick up refugees, because we obviously don't want to be live streaming footage of children or people who don't want to be filmed because they've already been through so much trauma. I really want a live feed of what they're going through right now, because this is it's very emotional, as you can guess, as people are having to go through hell. They've had to go through hell, and they've left their home. They left the home that they love, home that they built together with their loved ones. They don't know when they're going to go back. And I'll say this because I know it might sound a little bit morbid, maybe, but sometimes when you hear about a child who's gone missing, for instance, trigger warning, it's better, horribly enough, it's better to know what's happened than to not know, because uncertainty is horrific and arguably worse, because at least if you know what's happened, and even if it is the worst, you can have closure. You can attempt to rebuild your life from that point. Whereas if your child has gone missing, it's always going to be that hope that your child will be found. And this could be for anything, really. The uncertainty of anything is uniquely debilitating in terms of mental health for humans in general. It's a horrible state to be in. To have certainty and to know what's going on gives people a feeling of comfort in a way. It might be cold comfort, but it's comfort nonetheless. Which is why people who I might not get along with politically, some people will sacrifice freedom and they'll sacrifice honesty and things like that in order to pursue a candidate in any given election that makes them feel comfortable. And if their little comfort zone, if their safe place is in the 1950s, and that person promises to take them back to some kind of like romanticized version of the past, I can see why a lot of people take it, because they go, oh, well, at least we'll have certainty then. You see this a lot with memes on Facebook. If you've got any American friends who are right wing, and they'll put on like, oh, back in the day when you knew which toilet to use. Obviously a transphobic dig, but like, obviously the uncertainty is something that is being pushed by the far right to get people to vote for their evil candidates. You don't like uncertainty, do you? Why not vote for this candidate, and then you can have certainty? And so the complexities of the EU really worked against it, because a lot of people looked at the EU and went, oh, that's really complicated, I don't get it. And so in a lot of ways, the Brexit votes, and the vote for Trump, and the vote for Boris Johnson, and even a vote for someone like Jeremy Corbyn, is a flight from complexity. This idea that there's a simple solution to all these problems that are going on, and the simple solution to the fact that the NHS is underfunded, there's a lot of homeless people on the streets, we don't look after our veterans, and education is suffering, and all this kind of stuff. The solution to that, my friends, is... Sorry, my GPS has stopped under the tunnel there. That was like the worst possible place for the GPS to stop. Yeah, so these far right wing candidates are, going to be the solution to all your problems, but like Brexit and stuff, the world's quite complex, and if you vote for Brexit, then all the bad things that are happening in your life, like foreigners living in the UK and the NHS being funded, it'll sort all that out, and it won't upset you anymore, and life will become less complicated and less uncertain. It's a trick that I wish parties on the left would get their head around. The other thing the right-wing parties do that the left don't is the right-wing parties make people feel good about themselves. They make racists feel good about themselves. They make idiots feel good about themselves. True, but they make them feel good about themselves. Parties on the left make people feel bad about themselves. They feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And you've seen it on the feed here when we've had a couple of trolls when people are like, oh, you're not doing enough. Well, you should be doing more. What about people in Yemen? What about the people in Yemen? About that? Literal comments saying, what about the people in Yemen? And to which I say, I can't drive to effing Yemen. If I could, I'll help, but I can't drive to Yemen. I can drive to Ukraine. Literally get in a vehicle and drive from my home to Ukraine. It takes a couple of days. Do it. Why aren't you concerned about the Palestinian struggle? I am concerned about it, but I'm allowed to be concerned about more than one thing. If you care about the environment so much, why are you driving a car? Because it's the only way you can deal with the situation at hand. I can't afford an electric vehicle, can you? If you want to lend me one, please be my guest. I will use it to rescue refugees. If you can't afford an electric vehicle, and you're in the same boat as me, except you're complaining about what I'm doing instead of actually doing something yourself. So, well done, I guess. That's just coming right next to me. Right. But yeah, the left could do with making people feel better about themselves instead of feeling bad for driving their cars, feeling bad for going on holidays, feeling bad for wanting their kids to go to a good school. The left just make people feel bad. I don't want people to feel bad because they want the kids to go to a good school. So I want to get rid of all the private schools, and then all schools will be good. It's like there's a fairy tale, isn't there, about a woodcutter who's going to cut down the magic tree, and he put a ribbon around it, and he told the leprechaun, one of the magical creatures who are populating the forest, that if they took this ribbon off the tree, then they'll come back and chop all the heads off or something like that. And so in the morning when he turned up to find out where his magic tree was, he found that all the trees in the forest had ribbons around them. So they kept the promise. They said, look, we won't take the ribbon off the tree. That's what I want to do to schools. Make all schools good. You want to get your kid to a good school? Great. Send them to school. Like what they do in Finland. But the point is that a lot of the things that we do on the left, especially when it comes to environmental issues, food, I mean, making people feel bad about liking bacon. Have a think about that for a moment. I get it. I understand. I get it. I get why people think. I think that animals shouldn't be killed for food. That's fair enough. I get that. But the way to get people off this dependency on food, on meat, I should say, is by encouragement, not by telling people that they're evil, meat-eating murderers who will burn in hell for all eternity. It just doesn't work. What, I'm going to burn in hell for eating a bacon butty? Okay, worth it. So I'm more on that front. I'm more softly catchy monkey. My attitude, I just encourage people. Make it cheaper to buy vegetables. Make it cheaper to buy meat alternatives. To encourage people to have a meat-free day a week instead of telling them that they're evil people for eating meat. Get to say, look, every Friday don't eat meat. Simple as that. Okay, do that. And just a small act like that, replicated over millions of times around the world, with a huge effect on the amount of pollution, decreasing the amount of pollution that's used in farming, for instance. And along with my sort of, I'm getting old, so obviously I'm getting more radical in terms of I want to get rid of the clans in office and rather not wait for a couple more years. But when it comes to sort of getting people on board, do realise that you urinate with the equipment that you've got, let's say. And at the moment, Britain has a very, very divided country. But what Remainers and Brexiteers both agree on is the fact that the Brexit deal, the oven-ready Brexit deal that Boris Johnson trumpeted in the last election, is a bag of shite. Everyone agrees on that, pretty much. It was a bad deal. Labour needs to pick up on this. Labour needs to realise that instead of avoiding the idea of Brexit, use it as a tool to beat the Tories over the head with and declare a new deal with Europe. That's what we're going to do, a new deal with Europe. A little bit concerned about the nomenclature there, making it sound that Europe is something separate to the UK, but you need something catchy. And if you say a new deal for Europe, it sounds like we're doing something for the EU rather than, yeah, you know what people are like in the UK. So let's just call it a new deal with Europe, and say that they're going to sort out the terrible, terrible deal that Labour put in place. And then when Keir Starmer or any Labour politician is asked about the Brexit, instead of avoiding the freaking question, which is what Labour have done for the last 7 years, he can actually say, well, the reason why Brexit has turned out so badly isn't because it was a stupid effing idea and everyone who voted for it should hang their head in effing shame, although that's the truth. Then he needs to say, the problem with Brexit is this terrible, toxic deal that the toxic Tories, use the word toxic a lot, that the toxic Tories have inflicted on the nation. Because what they've done is they've made these queues in Dover, they've made it difficult for people to live in Europe, from the UK, they've made it difficult for people from Europe to stay here with their husbands, their wives, their kids. A lot of polygamists in my group of friends. And yeah, and we're going to sort it out. You don't have to say how you're going to sort it out. No, details are for after you win the election, guys. Just say the reason why it's all so crap is because of the Tories. Blame it all on the Tories, not on Brexit. I know, you know, it is because of Brexit. It does what it says on the tin. It exits Britain from the biggest and most successful trading union in human history. The biggest and most successful trading union from here to the nearest sentient planet. So if you imagine a sphere emanating from the Earth, going out 50,000 light years in every direction, within that sphere, the best, most successful trading union that exists is the European Union. So yeah, obviously it's not going to work, but this is the way Labour needs to address it. They'll get the Remainer vote, they will get the Leave votes who are not happy with the way Brexit's turned out. And blame the Tories, blame everything on the Tories. But yeah, so that's my compromise for the Brexit situation at the moment. Get them into power, let me start on doing this mess. What are you doing? I've just driven to the Ukrainian border with some supplies in the back of this van, and then on the way back I put the seats up and I transported 6 Ukrainian refugees, 3 women and 3 children, to Utrecht. Dropped them off in Utrecht, and now I'm heading home to the UK to sleep for a year. Not a year, sleep for 2 weeks, and then I'm back off again. This is the second trip that we've done over to Ukraine, and the third one will be coming up in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, I mentioned earlier that I'm going to start putting together things so that other people can do this trip, because there's a group that me and Paolo and a part of called Aid Out Refugees Back, which is what we're doing. And at the moment, it's just people doing it off their own back. So let's get some structure in this and do it properly and make sure that everyone's funded. We'll have a budget for each trip and say, right, essentially, here's £1,000. That's going to cover everything for the trip, for the accommodation, the transport, ferry, channel tunnel, whatever. And then any money left over from that £1,000 goes to the refugees, like directly in cash. That would be a good way to do it, I think. Brilliant, safe journey. Thank you. How can I help you? If you want to give to the fund, head over to UK4UKR, as in Ukraine. Number 4, UK4, number 4, UKR, .com. And on that site, you will see links at the bottom of the page that will give you, well, halfway down the page, which will give you access to our appeals that you can pay via PayPal, any major credit card, or you can pay via GoFundMe. And apparently, I learned last night while I was driving that the GoFundMe has hit £5,000, which is amazing, absolutely amazing. So that means that we should be able to make at least a couple more trips, maybe 3 more trips just off that alone, which is fabulous, absolutely fabulous. The only thing that really costs a lot of money is medical equipment. The more charitable stuff that fills a lot of space, like clothes and nappies and things, we can generally get free. We can just get people to donate that. So what you're giving to necessarily isn't so we can go out and buy that stuff. We will always take medical equipment with us, but that might not fill the van. But yeah, and then it is just getting the refugees to where they need to go in Europe. I hope next time that we do get to bring a family into the UK, because I think that would be phenomenal. Actually take them to their home where they're going to be staying. I would really like to see that. What's the plan once in Utrecht? Do they have family there? No, Victoria, who was the woman sitting next to me, I haven't posted that picture yet. Well, Victoria organised everything basically. So Victoria, she had 2 boys called Timur and Arthur, and then she had her mate Dasha, who her daughter Varvara was with her, and then also Victoria's mother-in-law Olga, she was with us as well. They're actually going to be staying with a friend of Victoria's in Utrecht, so that's where they're going to be staying. They don't know how long they're going to be there. Obviously, they want to go back to Ukraine. They want to go back to their own lives. Obviously, like they don't want to live in some other country thousands of miles away from their husbands who are fighting in a war that shouldn't happen, shouldn't exist, shouldn't be going on right now. But this is the situation that we're in. So I just hope that maybe in a couple of months' time, we can start doing this trip in reverse and start taking people back to Ukraine and making sure that people get into Ukraine, get home where they need to go. And you got to think as well, a lot of people coming across the border are elderly. A lot of women coming across the border who aren't fighting have got children. And that's the reason why they're not fighting. Otherwise, they would be fighting alongside the men. And traveling on public transport with kids, it's an art. It's not. I'm pretty good at it. But then I am pretty good at the old public transport thing. Obviously, if you know me pedigree, if you know my experience, I'm pretty quick to suss it out. But I do get it. You know, you've got everything that you can just grab from the house and had to leave immediately. And then the idea of trying to traverse a continent on the trains and buses and things and get to where you need to be, it is a little bit overwhelming and difficult. So if there are kind people who have vehicles who can go to the border, pick people up and take them where they need to go, that really, really helps. It really helps. And also, one of the things that Victoria said to me was that everyone she met with was so kind. All the people who were just trying to help were just so kind. And everywhere we went, people smiling and saying, I want to help, saying Slava Ukraini. And it's just, I think it's nice, not the right word, nice. It's a crap word, nice. I don't like the word nice. I'll take someone to use it about me. But it is nice that having seen the horrors of war and having seen what has happened to their country in Ukraine, that refugees coming over here into the rest of Europe can see that people care, that people that they matter and that people are concerned about them, people want to help. It means a lot. It means a lot to these people for obvious reasons. You know, the world isn't full of cruel psychopaths. That's just the Russian army. So, but yeah, like I said earlier, me and Victoria are going to keep in touch. She's been messaging me actually while I've been speaking to you, and I'll make sure that I'll give you updates on how she's getting on in Utrecht. So look, if you need anything, just get in touch. I'm quite a handy person to know actually, because I'm quite handy. I just know, just because I have friends all around Europe, just by the nature of my travels around the world. And meeting people is easy, as Radiohead once said. But do you know what else would be really bloody satisfying? If we could go over and pick up some people who were allowed to come and stay in Britain. We've had in our home in Durham, my partner and I have signed up for the Home to Ukraine scheme. Found a mother and daughter who escaped Mariupol, where I hear today that the authorities suspect that chemical weapons have been used in Mariupol. It does seem mad, doesn't it? Like in war, some weapons are okay. You know, a bomb is alright, but like gas, no, that's not alright. It's like they both kill people. Why didn't you make it all not alright? Yeah, but that's the case. That's horrific, and a good excuse for Biden to say, right, that's it, lad. I'm sick of your shit. You know, we're giving you 24 hours. Get out, or else. And I mean it. Like, you won't believe the shit we are going to rain down on you if you don't get out of Ukraine in the next 24 hours. Everyone out immediately. Go on, call my bluff. I dare you. I double dare you, mother effer. But yeah, that would be good. That would be good. And then when Vladimir Putin says, "I have all these nuclear weapons, and I will use them against you," you say, mate, your army has been beaten back and has been forced to retreat by a bunch of peasants with tractors. No offense to the people of Ukraine, I know you're not peasants. I'm just making the point that, oh my God, how humiliating to be part of the Russian army right now. Oh my God. This makes the retreat from Afghanistan in 1988 or in the late 80s. It makes the retreat from Afghanistan look positively manly. Oh my God, you have had your arse handed to you by farmers with tractors. Russia, just give up. Just give it. You're not showing yourself in glory here, Vlad. Just give up. Give it 24 hours, get the troops out, get the tanks out, get everything out. If they're not out within 24 hours, then just blow them out. Just don't tell me the American military doesn't have the capability to do that. How many tanks have Russia got? What, 20,000? 20,000 drones? Yeah. Does Russia have its own GPS system? Because obviously the GPS system that we use and that I'm using now to get me to the border, to get me to Calais, is the American military. I know that Europe were trying to make their own one, the Galileo, wasn't it? Does Russia have its own GPS system? Because if it doesn't, yeah. And if Putin did call his bluff, dangerous to play what? Play poker with. In fact, it's not a bluff. That's my point. It's not a bluff. You literally send out 20,000 drones and they blow up every single bit of military equipment. That's it. Aircraft carrier in the Black Sea. Boom. See you later. 20,000 drones. Take them all out within an hour. You know that scene in Breaking Bad when he gets the Nazi mafia to like kill everyone who he's having to pay legacy costs to in jail. He doesn't want to pay them any money. He wants to keep all the money for himself. And he has it all happen in like the space of 5 minutes or something. It all works like clockwork. That's what America needs to do. Essentially. And they could. Don't tell me they don't have the tech to do it. They definitely do. They have the eyes in the sky. They can identify where the Russian positions are, and they can send drones. They can send thousands of drones. All to strike at once. The Russians won't stand the chance. How are they going to stop them? Can't shoot that many drones out of the sky. Russia has still not got air superiority in Ukraine. I mean, bloody hell. I don't know anything about military tactics or anything like that, but I can just about get my head around the idea that if you're beaten by farmers with tractors and you, after a month and a half of invading a country, you still don't have air superiority. I mean, something's gone horribly, horribly wrong. But those Russian tanks shouldn't be there. The Russians shouldn't be there. They're in someone else's country. Do you know what? Do it and then say that it wasn't you. When Russia says, "Oh, you just blew up all of our tanks," you say, "Oh, fake news." Yeah, those are tanks. Yeah. Don't know what happened there. It's been the Ukrainians. Did you see any tractors? But we know it was you because we've got all this data. Well, you know, we know that man landed on the moon, but some Russian-funded conspiracy theorist knobheads writing stuff about it on the internet to get to little honey trap for other idiots to go, "Oh, maybe the man didn't land on the moon. The shadows aren't right." See what the Russians did when the horrific war crimes that have been committed in Bucha outside Kiev. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Why don't we just deny it? We'll say that wasn't us. The Russians can learn how frustrating that is. And then once it's undeniably you, you go, well, what about? And you have fun with it. You go, what about Rasputin? Eh? What? You know, Rasputin, the mad monk. What about him? You think that's bad? Rasputin, walk off like you want something. $300 million Europeans sacrificed for 40 million Ukrainians. This makes sense to me. He's not going to use nuclear weapons. He's not going to use nuclear weapons. Even if he did use nuclear weapons, which I don't think he would, I don't think they work anymore. I mean, look at his army. It's crap. His technology is crap. He said, like, I'm sorry, but yeah, it boggles the mind to think that, like, you know, they've got 6,000 nuclear warheads. All right, mate, good luck with them. Ready to launch out their crap submarines. They can't even stay in the water without sinking and everyone in them dying. Another massive Russian cover-up, cursed disaster. But also, I mean, look, hypothetically, if the Americans did just take out all of Putin's army in his army of terrorists who are raping children and burning them alive in Ukraine right now, right now that is happening in Ukraine. Yeah, if if the American military took them all out, then who does Putin fire his missiles at? Europe? What would it, like? They just say, well, it wasn't us. You're gonna fire a nuke at America, are you, mate? Look at that. The point is, it wouldn't get there. So imagine being defeated by tractors. See, one of the things as well is you look at like modern warfare, wars that the Americans not exactly shout themselves in glory. Militarily, the Americans were pretty good at first. They got rid of the Taliban in Afghanistan within a couple of weeks. They got rid of Saddam Hussein and his Ba'ath Party within a few weeks in Iraq. Mission accomplished. They've got signed, but bless their idiotic socks. They bless their genocidal socks. But, and it's a big but, the situation in Afghanistan and Iraq was that there was an insurgency, and that was something that the Americans couldn't beat, because for every insurgent they killed, another two popped out like a hydra's head. So, like the idea that you can bomb a country back to the Stone Age, it just doesn't happen. It's daft. It's insane trying to fight people on their own territory. But in a case like this, where military equipment has been moved from one country into another country, and you're saying get that out of that country now, they don't get it out there, so you blow it all up. That's it. You know, it's not like you're going to have Russian insurgents running around Ukraine for the next 20 years fighting the American occupation. The Americans are not going to occupy the place. It's going to be Ukrainians running Ukraine for Ukraine. But the problem is that the people in power are cowards. More interested in money than in saving lives, stopping war. Because we all want peace. Sometimes the best way to get peace is with a knife. As Homer Simpson once showed us. Poor quality of your voice. Well, that's no good. Well, thanks for letting me know. Okay, how's that? Is that any better? Let me know in the chat if my voice has got immeasurably better now that I've moved the microphone to under my chin. Although it's going to make it difficult to change gear, but luckily it's an automatic, so not to worry. Right, if Kieran's still watching, I'm on for a 3:43 arrival in Calais, barring any more hiccups along the way. Although Google's supposed to take that into account, so we will see. Audio better. Thank you very much, Cash Dummy, for letting me know. Anyone got any other ideas apart from, I don't know, giving Vladimir Putin 24-hour ultimatum to get all this stuff out of Ukraine, or you've got to blow it literally all up? That'll work. Do you know UkraineTakesShelter.com? I helped the developers do the French version. Okay. It's a platform that connects Ukrainian refugees with potential hosts. Oh, fantastic. Okay. I think your name's Alexa. I can't see your name very well because it's dark blue against a dark background. It's quite bright out there. So yeah, could you get in touch? Could you get in touch? There's plenty of ways of getting into touch with me. Getting in touch with me. Sorry, I'm just doing a bit of manoeuvring. If you would like to friend me on Facebook, I'm Graham Hughes. I've got a blue tick. Blue tick. Otherwise, if you friend me on Twitter, I'm at Every Country on Twitter. All right, so I've just got to concentrate. Love it when the map says at the top, Get Central. I'm thinking, why would you go to Gent Central? Ghent. Why would you want to go to Ghent Central? And then I realised that the path that's taking me off the motorway, which has several exit lanes all at once, isn't the one that goes to Ghent Central. E40, Russell Ustende, God, Spanish, Ustende. They do like that ooh sounds, don't they, around here? I'm in Belgium at the moment. Well, that was moderately more stressful than it needed to be. Okay, right, back in the room. I should have sent you a friend request on Facebook. Thanks. You also follow me on Twitter. Excellent. Well, oh, if I follow you on Twitter, then you can send me a DM. Send me a direct message on Twitter. Thank you. Sounds good. At least we can see where it's going. Yeah, I mean that's. I think you're talking about the where your money's going, maybe. Or maybe just watching my manoeuvrings. Right, I need to stay on this road for another 48 kilometers. Oh, that number again, 48. Anyway, yeah, they like the ooh sounds, don't they? In the Netherlands, they like ooh, ooh. They like it in Belgium as well. Ooh. In Germany, what sounds it like in Germany? They like the sounds in Germany. Like hospital. What's hospital in German? Krankenhaus. Krankenhaus. Yeah, they like the sounds in Germany. What's Spanish? They like that sound in Spanish. I'm trying to think of what the sound they like in Portugal. It's a sort of uniquely Portugal sound, isn't it? A diphthong or something that you only really get in Portugal. Can't remember what it is. It's kind of a bit weird though. Say the Slavic languages they like that sound. Hi, number 3. We're just talking about sounds that different languages like to use a lot. Pointing out there's a lot of ooh sounds, like Graham who's in Dutch. To paraphrase Michael Caine in Goldmember, there's 2 things I hate: prejudice and the Dutch. That's not true. I don't hate the Dutch. It's just a joke. Why does everything in German sound loud and mildly annoyed? I don't know. It's quite a clinky language. Whereas Dutch is more of an ooh language. Oohs and ahs. Like double R. They like the old double R in Dutch. Doesn't it? Sorry, double R, double A. Pirates. the double R. No, the double A. They like that in Dutch. You don't see that too much in English. I think Adam from Three Blokes in the Pub was telling me that Dominic Raab's name means turnip in Dutch, I think. Someone can correct me in the comments, I'm sure. Maybe it's in Flemish. I don't know. R-A-A-B. It either sounds like the word for turnip or it is the word for turnip, which suits him. Which suits. I am 1 hour and 27 minutes away from Calais. Hopefully, get through the tunnel pretty quickly, and I have to wait 5 hours. And presuming that's the case, it's another 2 hours on the other side to get to Kieran, maybe depending on traffic. And then Kieran, either if I get to Kieran's in really really good time, I can take the train into central London, and then get the train from central London to back to Durham. But if I am late getting to Kieran's, but still in time to catch that train, Kieran's kindly agreed to drive me up to Peterborough, and I can get on the train. The train that I should be getting on at King's Cross, I'll get it on it at Peterborough instead. If you know what I mean. If you listen to actual German speakers, what, like Bosch speakers? Bose? Is Bose a German company? Don't know. Who makes the best speakers? Oh, you mean people who speak the language? Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like a stereo. You meant like Blomplunkt or something. They don't sound that harsh at all. It's the English stereotype of overspelling that makes every word sound harsh. Maybe. For me, on the other hand, it's English speakers sound, especially England, sound pompous and arrogant, like Mark. Yeah, absolutely. Well, yes, I see. Reminds me of the concierge in The Simpsons, who says, hello! And Homer Simpson says, why are you talking like that? He goes, I've had a stroke. Not dark humour in The Simpsons there, but also, yeah. Rees-Mogg, the idiot's idea of a clever person. I like the German language, I like it as well. I like all languages. They're interesting. Is there any particular language that I just very much dislike? Particularly fond of the Zulu language because it has clicks in it. And I think it's got more than one. Someone could correct me on this, but I think there's different types of click depending on what word you're saying. You like put a click in the word, which is cool. I think there's a language that developed maybe in the Canary Islands. That's whistles. The reason being that the farmers on one side of the hill needed to talk to the farmers on the other side of the hill, the shepherds. So they developed this whistling language. That's cool. And obviously there's British Sign Language and American Sign Language, which was developed for deaf people. But even more interestingly, I think it's Guatemalan Sign Language, which came about because the kids who were deaf weren't taught sign. They were just taught to read people's lips. So the kids basically developed their own signs for stuff using their hands so they could communicate with each other. And now that's the actual national deaf alphabet, deaf language in Guatemala, and it's unique to Guatemala. And it was invented by children many years ago in a deaf school. As you put two kids together, they don't speak a language, they'll develop their own language and speak to each other. That sometimes happens with twins, you know. Apparently, so I'm told. Might be apocryphal. Might not be true. Some cows in the field there. It's a shame I can't press the button and switch the camera around so you can see out of the front camera. If anyone from Restream is watching this, make it so it's easy to switch the camera around from the front to the back. That would be ace. I hear you have to be careful with clicks in Zulu. The click for mother-in-law and horse are similar. Jim Bob, I heard the same about the word for mother and horse in Chinese is very similar. It's just a different intonation in how you say it. Yeah, you do have to be quite careful. The Black Country accent can sound really bad to my ears, of course. Well, yeah, I'm having serious thoughts about modulating my accent, my natural Scouse accent, because people just don't take you seriously. People don't think that you're capable. People always assume that you're incapable and incompetent and inept. And when you are the absolute opposite of those things, it really grates people assuming that you're crap at stuff because you've got a regional accent. So I would like that not to be the case, but I think realistically, if I'm ever going to get anywhere in the UK, and it's not like I can do anything anywhere else anymore, since I've been banned from working in 31 other countries without asking for a visa and a work permit to do so. Didn't used to need a work permit, now I do. Thanks for that, Brexit. And they can say no. And they can put people from Europe, from the EU, ahead of me in the queue. Thanks for that, Brexit. But yeah, if I'm going to try and get anywhere in the UK, it goes across everything, politics, broadcasting, even podcasting. It really helps if you sound posh. It really helps. Think about the British podcasters, YouTubers who have done really, really well. Nearly all of them sound proper posh. It's one of those things that the only way that most normal people can get on the telly is Jeremy Kyle or a reality TV show, which makes it even more galling when someone who's really posh like Ben Fogle goes on Big Brother, and it's like, okay, you don't need to go on Big Brother. You're posh. You don't need to. And then of course he gets travel series out of it. Nobody else does it. You leave with nothing. I say good day to yourself. I'm learning Icelandic. Wow, that's an interesting language. Hasn't changed much since the 9th century. Wow. Really thankful for the Icelandic language, because a lot of the Norse sagas that were destroyed by Christians, they survived up in Iceland, in Icelandic. But when you think about how many sagas were probably out there, and then how few we've got now, is kind of heartbreaking. If you do any research into the big fire at the library in Alexandria, that was set by Christians as well. Christians. The actual library burned down a few times, but the big one, the one that took out manuscripts by, scrolls by Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, all that kind of stuff, that was started by Christians. Rampaging about people learning stuff, learning things that the Christians didn't want them to learn about. Sound familiar? Well, that was 2,000 years ago, and okay, I'm an hour and 20 minutes now from Calais. DDA. Oh, it's the Xhosa language. The comedian Trevor Noah speaks it. He has lessons on YouTube. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Is it Xhosa language? That's cool, Tiger Pie. Yeah, I knew Trevor Noah before he was cool. So before he did the Zay show, when I was in South Africa back in 2009, on a lot of the long distance buses, they would invariably have some like Christian programming on it. It was all a bit American evangelical sort of stuff. I think partly because the church helped run the bus company or something. I don't know, but one of the things that sometimes maybe on other bus companies, I don't know. You got to watch where Trevor Noah videos. They loved putting Trevor Noah up, and like everyone on the bus was just like wetting themselves laughing at Noah's stand-up routine, and he could get away with a lot of stuff. Being mixed race, he could take the mick out of everyone in a way that if you look like Jim Davidson, you really should not go there. But it's different. I remember his skit about the South African national anthem and the fact that it's got 11 languages in it, I think, in the national anthem. And he does the bit, like everyone sings. So everyone knows the English, everyone knows the Dutch, everyone knows the Zulu or something, but he gets like one of these languages and he gets the audience to sing along, and the audience sings along, and he goes, "You have no idea what that means, do you?" And bear in mind, this is when Nelson Mandela was still alive. He says, anyone in the audience know what that line means in the national anthem? No one put their hand up. He says, I'll tell you what it means. It means when Mandela dies, we kill all the whites. It's funny. I guess you have to be there. But yeah, Trevor Noah, very, very, very funny, talented guy, and I'm glad he's got a stint on American television so more people can be exposed to his candor and wit. Just don't make a joke about Will Smith's wife's hair, or lack of. Yeah, I understand why Will Smith was upset, but you don't just slap someone. I know he might have wanted to, but yeah, absolute scenes at the Oscars a couple of weeks ago. Absolute scenes. Wristband, whatever that means, just past a sign for it. 1,500 meters to B&M. That might just mean services. I've fallen into that trap before. It looked like a Hollywood slap to me, to be honest. No, he slapped him. He did slap him. I think it was fake. It's funny, as soon as it happened, the people were like, that didn't really happen. It was staged. Like, oh, can the human default not to just be, I'm not going to believe that. I'm not going to believe what I just saw. There must be some trickery towards it. They made a good point on the James O'Brien show a few weeks ago, where someone said, it might be James actually, he said, in the olden days, you'd say about people that they'll believe anything. These days, you say they don't believe anything. It's like, they don't believe what they can see with their own eyes. Nah, the world's round. The world's not round. It's flat, mate. It's flat. No, we went up in a big spaceship. We turned around. We took a photo. It's definitely round. You know, if it wasn't round, nothing would work. Literally nothing would. But yeah. La Marseille is pretty bloodthirsty. Oh, good. We just got the notification that Katerina, who is the lady who we are hoping to get out of Ukraine, she's escaped from Mariupol with her daughter, who's 11, and we just got the notification that they're in Lviv at the moment. There's a possibility that I might go out there and pick them up in the next couple of weeks, but they've applied and their application is now being considered. So we got the official, it is being considered, which is good, but still shit that they have to do it, and I couldn't just pick them up then when I went to the border with Ukraine and brought them home with me, since I have the agency to do so. But yeah, that's good. So yeah, I'm going with Catherine, my partner, and there's going to be a Katharina. It's not round, it's an oblate spheroid. Nah, mate, it's a prolate spheroid. It's not an oblate spheroid. Which is round, by the way. It's not perfectly round, but the Earth, if it was shrunk down to the size of a billiard ball, it would be a lot smoother than a billiard ball. True story. It was established that the world is an oblate spheroid in the 1730s during the Great French Geodesic Expedition to both what's now Ecuador and up into Lapland. And the guy who led the expedition up into Lapland was called Mr. Celsius, from where we get the name of the Celsius scale. And the trip that went to Ecuador was led by Monsieur de la Condamine and Louis Godin. And I've been to the monument in Ecuador, just outside Quito, which shows where the equator is, and it has the name of the French, well, the French measuring team that went over in the 1730s, which is a hell of an adventure. Someone should write a story about it. Someone should write a script. Someone should write a script about that expedition. Not necessarily about the expedition, but the fact that one of the members of the expedition, the nephew of Louis Godin, a guy called Jean Godin, he married a local girl in Riobamba, in what's now Ecuador. Only she wasn't just the local girl, she was the daughter of the governor of Riobamba. And they lived together for 10 years. And then they decided to move to France because 2 of their children had died of smallpox. And John went ahead down the Amazon River to set things up for his wife, and she was pregnant at the time, so his child to be able to get down the river in safety. And he got all the way down to the end of the river, got all the way to French Guiana, and then the 7-Year War started. And then he was stuck in French Guiana for 7 years because 7-Year War. And then he was still stuck there afterwards because the Brazilians didn't want to let a French person into their territory. And eventually, Isabel thought, sod this, I'm going off to find my husband. And she, after 18 years of waiting, she lost her daughter to smallpox at the age of 18, Maria. And she set off into the jungle. over the Andes down into the jungle. She had an entourage of 40 people. 40 people. She was carried in a sedan chair over the Andes. And then when they got to the first station along the river in the Amazon basin, half of the servants ran away. I think all the servants ran away, leaving just Isabella, her maids, a dodgy French guy called Dr. Rivals, and his mate, and her two brothers and her nephew, her young nephew. And yeah, everyone died. Sorry, spoilers. Everybody died except for Isabel. She not only survived for 3 weeks, cutting her way through the jungle with a machete and sandals fashioned from her dead brother's shoes, she got back to her husband. She went back to France. And now you can visit their home that they made for themselves. They died in the 1730s. Sorry, 1790s. And there's a blue plaque on their old house, which is now a school. And it says, this is the place where Jean and Isabel Godin ended their lifetime of adventures together. And I think that the dress that was made for Isabella by the Indians that saved her when she collapsed at the end of her ordeal, I think that dress is still on display in the school. I want to check. I'm going to make a pilgrimage there one day. But I really think someone should make a film about this, possibly called The Amazon. Maybe Amazon could make it, because it's about the Amazon and a woman who cut her way through the Amazon, almost like an Amazon. Amazon. Is anyone from Amazon watching this? Message me if you are, because I've already written the script for you, so you don't have to do anything. Cheers. Based on a true story. So there you go. How did we get there? Oh, someone said the Earth was a prolate spheroid. No, oblate spheroid. Don't get it mixed up. Good old Isabella. Got to believe in some conspiracies, though not believing in any is as bad as believing them all. Well, I think in any given conspiracy, so long as there is plausible motivation and a plausible way of keeping it secret, then okay. But if there's no plausible way whatsoever of keeping something secret, like the world being around, I mean, how do you keep that a secret? The world isn't round. But then how does anything work? Anyway, yeah. But also, like, motivation. What's the motivation in making people think the world is round when it isn't? Anyone? Like, why? So, what's the motivation for letting Princess die? Well, she's, you know, she's more popular than the other royals. She wasn't at the time, mate. I mean, I don't know if you guys were around at the time, but the tabloids hated Princess Diana, and they made it very clear they hated her, up until the point when she died. And then they went, oh shit, no, we really loved her. She was great. Yeah, we loved Diana. So what was the motivation for killing her? If she had another relationship, she was going out with someone else and had a baby, they would never become the king of England or the Queen of England, because it doesn't work that way. She was annoying, maybe. But again, motivation, but also plausibility. Like, could people keep the secret? And it's like, for a conspiracy like Princess Diana's assassination, you need how much did they bribe the chauffeur to kill himself? And why? What must be the point? She's embarrassing the royal family. Oh, she's embarrassing the royal family. Okay, let's just go back to brass tacks here. The future King of England, the future Charles III, if he keeps his original name as Charles, once called his mistress on the phone and expressed his desire to be her tampon. This happened. This was published in the tabloids. That was before Princess Diana died. That was a good 7 years before Princess Diana died. The Squinty Gate tapes, they were called. Why did they get rid of Charles? He's way more embarrassing. And also, in the line of succession.
whereas Princess Diana wasn't. So yeah, unless you can show me good motivation, a good motive, like why would they want to do this, and also the practicalities of keeping it secret, just explain it to me. 9/11's the best for that. Like, people who think 9/11 was a conspiracy, it would be a conspiracy of thousands. Thousands of people who were immoral enough to kill 3,000 Americans, but not immoral enough to ask for £1,000 trillion dollars a day to keep quiet. So, you know, reasonably psychopathic psychopaths with reason. They were like, no, it's all right, mate. You can just pay me 50 grand a year and I'll keep quiet about it. 50 grand a year for the biggest conspiracy that's ever happened. I will keep quiet for it for 50 grand. The question that you want to ask yourself is, how much would they have to pay you to keep quiet? Oh, I wouldn't. Well, most people are like that, okay? But say you've got to come up with a figure. You absolutely have to come up with a figure. How much do you want each day that you don't tell the world that America killed 3,000 of its own civilians so it could invade Iraq, which had nothing to do with it? Yeah, so that's where conspiracies fall apart. But then you do have genuine conspiracies that happen, and they're boring. They're not sexy because they're not secret. The Russians made absolutely no secret of their interference in Brexit and the Brexit vote. They made absolutely no secret in their interference with the American elections, last two most notably. They made no secret about it whatsoever. There was a book that came out called The Foundations of Geopolitics by Alexander Duggan. It came out in 1997, and it's a handbook for Russia to get back on its feet from being a, basket case where you had to queue for stale bread for 3 days. And they followed it to the letter. It said they were going to annex Ukraine. They said in the text that they were going to take South Ossetia and Abkhazia. It said it was going to interfere in the American elections, in the American political system. It said that they were going to cut the UK off from the rest of Europe. It's there in black and white. So it's a boring conspiracy because there's no secrecy about it. It just is a bunch of evil people getting together and saying, let's do evil things and ruin people's lives. And then you've got things like the Bhopal disaster in India, which no one's ever had to pay any reparations for. No one's gone to jail for killing thousands and thousands of Indian people who died in the world's worst chemical disaster. And Union Carbide, the company that oversaw it, because of their crappy facility that wasn't up to health and safety, they got away with it. It's not even a conspiracy. People know. People know. But it's kind of boring. Like coltan. Coltan isn't something that grants you wishes to be big. Coltan is a substance. I think it's short for Colombian. Jesus. Cobalt. I think it's cobalt and tantalite. I think it's a derivative of cobalt and tantalite, and it is in every electronic good that you have. So your phone has got coltan in it. I know it's columbide. Is it columbide? Don't know, something like that. Someone will tell me what's coltan short for. It's I think it's cobalt and tantalite, which is a derivative of tantalium, which is or tantalum, which is a periodic table thing, an element named after Tantalus, which was a region of Hades. And who lived in Tantalus? It was King. Oh no, sorry, no, it was King Tantalus. That was his name, and he was put in Tartarus. It's quite similar sounding. So Tartarus was a region of Hades that he was put into, and basically King Tantalus, he invited the gods round for supper one day, as you do, and he thought it would be a terrific wheeze to feed them his dead son. because the gods were not allowed to consume the flesh of humans. It would make them sick or kill them or something. So basically, he wanted to test this theory that they couldn't eat the flesh of humans. So he killed his son, chopped him up, put him in a pie, fed him to the gods. So King Tantalus ended up going to Tartarus in hell, in Hades, and the idea was that he was in this big space, and he was always hungry and thirsty, terribly hungry and thirsty, and all this food and drink, fine wine and beautiful looking food, would float above his head. He could smell it, he could almost touch it, but no matter how high he tried to jump, he could never reach the food above his head. It was just tantalizingly close. And that's where we get tantalum from. Not to be confused with titanium, that's something else. But yeah, so anyway, a derivative of cobalt and tantalum, or tantalium, is what we use in all our phones, in our laptops, in our mobile phones, etc. And nearly all of the world's coltan sources are in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, around Goma area, which is near to the borders with Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda. And essentially, that whole area has been bloody anarchy now for decades as a result of this, because whoever controls the coltan mines controls the world. It's a bit like Spice in June. Yeah. But again, boring conspiracy, because no one really cares. No one really cares about what's going on in Goma, in Democratic Republic of Congo. There was a war. There was a war. There were two wars around the turn of the millennium. 6 million Africans were killed in these wars. Didn't even get the headlines of the news. Didn't even get the headlines. So yeah, if you want to win when it comes to a conspiracy, just do it. Just do it in open sight of everyone, and no one will care. If you want people to obsess over it, then make it secret. Just say, yeah, I did that, and I don't care. You get away with murder. Tantalizing, yeah. Coltan is an ore that produces niobium and tantalum. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Duke Vengeance, for looking that up. So it's, I think it's pronounced niobium. But yeah, two important rare earth metals, I guess, that are necessary for making modern electronics go. Tintin o Congo. Yeah. Oh, breaking news. Johnson and Sunak will be fined over lockdown parties. Great. So they both broke the law. They both broke the law, which means they broke the ministerial code, which says they shouldn't break the law. So they should both effing well resign. Resign right now, Mr. Prime Minister. Resign, Rishi Sunak. Resign. And while you're at it, you know, you got rid of your wife's non-dom status, so she's not such an embarrassment to you. How about you make it so that you're both British residents, and so that when you cark it, your children, your rich, privileged, overpriced children, your little crotch nuggets, your sex trophies, your womb goblins, have to pay the same amount of inheritance tax as everyone else does, who's not disgustingly rich and has a father who used to be the Chancellor of the Exchequer. How about that, eh? All womb goblins are created equal, but some are more equal than others. Get the Tory scum out. Yeah, absolutely agree. You have a great sense of humour, Graham. Thank you. And China has 70% of the world's graphene. Yeah. Get out, resign. I hope that's not to me. Okay, I quit. Pulls over the motor. Gets out, slams the door. I quit. You can't fire me, I quit. So Boris Johnson broke the law, broke ministerial code, and misled the House of Parliament. He said that there were no parties and that the rules were followed. The rules were not followed. He misled the House. He needs to go correct the record and say that he is a criminal, a Tory criminal crook. But yeah, that is good news for sure. Right, Kieran, if you're still watching, mate, my ETA slipped a little bit. I'm now 9 minutes to 4. I'm getting in. This is going to be really tight. I better hit into high gear. Do you like the way I went up a gear there without moving my hands? Yeah, automatics. Bring it. I realise I shouldn't put my hand that high up on the steering wheel because it just turns into a big white, bright light bulb. I'll keep that down. What have we here? Stay on the A18 for 31 kilometres. Okay, I'll do as I'm told. So then, I'm going to keep this stream going until I get to France, and then obviously it'll knock off anyway because when my phone has to find a new service provider, it kicks off the it stops the stream. Or sometimes it doesn't stream. Sometimes it doesn't stop the stream. Don't stop the stream, and it just keeps going, but there's no sound or video. It's a bit daft. But then when I get back on to restream, it's like stream, and the thing's just going around in the circle. So let's not have that happen. I am 43 kilometres from Dunkirk. There's a bit of Dunkirk spirit going on here, actually. The idea of going over to the border with Ukraine, picking people up and taking them where they need to go. That's what they did in Dunkirk. They came across the channel, they picked up people and took them back where they needed to go. And it was just people like you and me in their little fishing boats, little pleasure vessels, going over to do what they can to help out in a dire, dire situation. What's the odds of staying in office? Just like Priti Patel, and also who also broke the Mississippi. Yeah, I mean the odds are 1-to-1, mate. They're going to stay in office. I have no doubts about that. But they should resign. If they had any honour or honesty or integrity or decency, they would resign. But they don't have any of those things because they weren't taught them in school. Because they both went to schools, Winchester and Eton. Tantalus agony, indeed. Politicians today don't resign anymore. They just shrug and say, yeah, nah. Sorry, they just say, nah. I thought I put an Australian yeah at the beginning of that. So when Australians want to say yes, they'll say, nah, yeah. And when they want to say no, they say, nah, yeah, nah. It can be quite confusing to people for whom English isn't their first language. You literally just said yes, no. No, I said no, yes. You know. I got very confused when I was younger. When I asked someone if they wanted something, they said, no, you're all right. It took me ages to understand what they meant. I was like, what? I know I'm all right, but are you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. You're all right. You're telling me I'm all right? I'm so confused. Had an Irish friend. I still have an Irish friend called Katrina. We were around at her flat. She used to live in Liverpool. I met at her flat one day. And she asked us if we were after food. And I'm like, no. Are you after food? I'm like, no, it's all right. We've eaten. No, are you after food? I'm like, no, it's okay. We've had food. It's fine. We've eaten. We ate. No, I mean, are you after food then? We're not hungry. We don't need food. So you're after food. And basically, wherever Katrina comes from in Ireland, I think it's Cork, when they say after food, it means, have you eaten? So basically they're asking you, is it after the point where you've eaten food? It's very confusing. I think also, while I'm in Belgium, point out, I think Belgium do this, I think the Dutch do it as well, or one of them do it. When they say 2:30, they mean 30 minutes past 2, which is really confusing. Also, if you're ever in Ethiopia and they tell you the bus is leaving at 3 in the morning, they mean 3 hours after the sun rises. Don't turn up at 3 in the morning at the bus station. You will get no pleasure. You will get no joy. You will go back to your hotel if they let you back in, and you will cry yourself to sleep until 9 o'clock in the morning when the bus actually leaves. OMG, it's true. They're being fired. They're being fined. Yeah, they're not being fired though. Lebedev will be paying the fines for them. Yeah, we need to start a petition to deport Lebedev, I believe. Okay, I'm still slipping time. I think I should be going faster. I don't want to go too fast because I'm sort of chatting away. Chatting away in the inside lane. Right, I've lost my GPS signal for some reason. Oh, no, it's fine. That wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be. Thought I was going to be lost. I'd have to do things like read the road signs to find out where I'm going, like in the old days. Can you tell us more about your green wristband? Okay, so this is my green wristband. This means that I'm a registered refugee driver. So obviously, to become registered, you need to give your details, your driving license, your passport. You have to have a COVID test now. And when I went 2 weeks ago, they wanted a letter from my aid agency or NCO or NGO, sorry, or whatever, to say that I was working for a group. So I made a letter for UK4UKR and said I'm working for UK4UKR, which is linked to my company, which is registered in company's house. So all the evidence pointing back to me is there for anyone who wants it. But yeah, they took all those details, and I guess I'm still on the system from last time. So it was a lot easier getting my wristband this time. But yeah, they had to be quite careful, understandably, because what was happening is people were turning up the border and picking people up and taking them where they needed to be, and that was wonderful. But every time there's something nice or good in the world, someone, a vanishing minority, but still, someone has to come along and ruin it for everyone. And what was happening is you're getting people traffickers kidnapping people on the border, like kidnapping vulnerable young Ukrainians, coming over and say, yeah, we'll take you to Denmark, we'll take you to Germany, and kidnapping them instead. I do despair sometimes. Is that David saying, hi Graham? Hello. I'm not a hero, mate. I just serve in a band of, I serve in a company of heroes, put it that way. Fair play, safe trip. Keep that wristband safe. Well, no, this is my second one. The first one, I cut it off. I took it back with me. Because obviously it's just a paper wristband. They fall apart. You have a shower. I took it back with me, and he took it off me. He actually took it off me. I was going to keep that as a little memento, but I'll keep this one. So I'll be coming to the border with France very, very soon. I'm already seeing signs for Calais coming up. So when I do cross the border, I'll kill the stream. I will stop broadcasting, and I'll sort out getting into Calais, doing all that jazz, and then when I'm in the Channel Tunnel, I might start the live stream again, because that'll be fun. I actually need to write up a blog, don't I, from this journey. It's quite difficult to write a blog while you're driving and live casting at the same time. Live streaming even. Live casting, same thing. When you are live streaming and driving, it's difficult to write your blog up. And last night, I got into the hotel. I was absolutely shattered. I had a chat with Catherine and on Google Meet, because that has automatic subtitles. And then I promptly fell asleep, and then was rudely awoken by the dustman. No, I was rudely awoken by my alarm going off at 6:30 this morning, which to me is kind of like 5:30 because I'm still kind of on British time. Right, so it looks like I'm going to get to the Channel Tunnel at 3:54, unless I get a budge on. It's very windy. It's all gone very windy all of a sudden. I'm adding that to Torypedia. Yeah, we need to get the Torypedia website up and running, don't we? I've got Torypedia.uk. Oh, by the way, if you want to laugh, try typing in Putin for Trump.com. Just type it into YouTube. Sorry, not YouTube. Type it into Google. Type it into your Omnibox, whatever. Putin for Trump, number 4. Putin for Trump.com. And then translate from Russian into English. Let me know if it's working. Oh wow, there's a tractor over there. Hello, Mr. Tractor. Oh, he's not looking. Dun, 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 dun. There's a place called Plopsaland. Plopsaland. Is that where you go to do a plop? Tiger buys it, it's working, and I speak Russian. Enjoy! You can correct any spelling mistakes I've made then, Tiger Pie, because I don't speak Russian. Oh bloody hell, David! That's awful. I know that's not a one-off, mate. That's happened all over Ukraine. that's happened all over Ukraine. But the Russian soldiers just sound like absolute barbarians. They're as bad as the Nazis in World War II. My missus is Russian, she'll have a look. She might need to wash her eyes out afterwards. Online chat with Cap. No, it wasn't that exciting. It wasn't that exciting. It wasn't that exciting. I was a bit too sleepy for any of that nonsense. Anyway, should see it tonight, hopefully. Get through this bloody tunnel. I'm 20 miles from Dunkirk. Only 20 miles from Dunkirk. Sorry, 24. 20 kilometers from Dunkirk. Morning from California. Hi there. Hi, California. Bridget, I'm just about to cross the border into France, so I'm going to lose the signal as my phone recalibrates to a new mobile phone provider, data provider. So sorry about that. Just as you get here, I disappear. Don't worry, it's not something you said. Well, I should be back in a few hours. I might give you an update if I'm waiting in the queue to get on the tube, to go through the Channel Tunnel. Well, one way or another, I'm going to try and get back to Durham tonight. Might end up just stuck in Peterborough for the night, waiting for the megabus to come. Waiting for the megabus to come. Doodling. Wasn't that a song by Madness? Okay. Hit the border. I'm going to hit the border in 3.5 kilometers. 3.4. 3.3. 3.2. 3.1. It's a bit like an airplane. It's like the flight from Chicago is now arriving at gate 1, gate 2, gate 3, gate 4, gate 5. 2.5 kilometers now, 2.5 kilometers to the border. Marvelous stuff. Drive safe. Yeah. Well, once I knock this off, I can drive a bit faster. I've been taking it easy because, obviously, I am aware that I can't look everywhere at once. So just staying in the inside lane and keeping up with the vehicle in front has been my usual setup. Okay, 950 meters, 800 meters. We're slowing down. Everyone's slowing down for the border. Something's happening. There's roadworks. Oh, you're gonna have me for a bit longer. That's fun. Oh, what fun! Every girl and boy. Right. Okay. I've stopped. Just for the border. I'm 400 meters from the border. I can almost touch it. We've had to stop. Come on, EU. Tell me there were no borders. You specifically said there were no borders. Do you know what would be a good rule to have at this point? You see these lorries, right? One next to me here. Actually, you'll probably see this one a bit better because it won't be as priced. No, it's still quite priced. These lorries, right? How about they can only be in the right lane? How about they can only be in the right lane? How about you get out the way, mate? Lorry, why don't you? Oh, you can't see on this side. On this side, hey, why don't you get out of my lane? Because this should just be for cars. Hey, how about you just get out my lane? Go on, bugger off. Go on the inside lane. Stuck behind a Romanian lorry in the outside lane. That's very frustrating. And the lorry to my right there had actually stopped to allow the lorry in front of me to get into the correct lane for lorries, which should always be the inside lane. But now he's just clogging the place up. I like on the back of trucks here, it's got angles, morts, death angles, or possibly death angels. They've got a sticker on the back of the HEVs where angles of death, where basically they can't see where a car is. You know, a blind spot. So we call it a blind spot, they call it a death angle. It's kind of cool. But yes, blind spots. People driving in other people's blind spots really gets when I'm a passenger and a driver's doing that, it really winds me up. I'm like, do you know what a blind spot is? Why are you driving in that car's blind spot? And then when the car that you're driving in the blind spot of veers to the left and like nearly takes you out, you're like, oh, how come he just cut me off? You're like, yeah, well, you're driving in his blind spot, you idiot. Never criticize someone's driving. Jesus Christ, it's like saying the baby's ugly or the tattoo looks shite. In so much trouble. Yes, your baby is adorable. Oh man, I wish I had a tattoo that looked like that. Only on my face. Okay, so this is not good. Oh, there's lots of lorries in this lane. Oh, good. The lorry in front of me, not the one in front of me, but the one in front of that has moved into the other lane. All right, now maybe this lorry will move into the other lane. Go on, why don't you move into the other lane? The reason why I think we're stopping is because lorries are being shepherded off to the side as they go into France, probably for checks to make sure there's no people hiding inside before they get to Calais. If that was your version of road rage, it was rather sweet. Yeah, man. Grr. Sort it, you bastards. What do we want? Incremental improvements. When do we want it? In due course. Let's see what food I've been left. I've been left food. This. Oh my god. That's sausage, maybe? Actual sausage. Big Game of Thrones, that. Cheese. Could do with some bread to go with that. Wind me up sounds so much better than pisses me off. Just saying. We use the word piss a bit differently in America, don't we? Than in America, actually. Like we could say something's pissy. I don't think they use that expression in America. Which means that it's very easy. But you wouldn't use it about someone's mum. That's a different use of the word easy. Oh, come on, get out the way. Seriously, man. Come on. Seriously. Mate. Are you getting paid to stand in trial? There's a big empty gap in front of the lorry in front of me. Filled by not lorries. Oh, I wish I was in a motorbike. Motorbike's just weaving in between the lorries and stuff. Oh, mate. Gonna be late for the train. Gonna be late for the train, and I'm gonna miss the train, and then I'm not gonna get back to Durham until tomorrow, and then I'm gonna be in trouble with the missus. Come on, let me in. You're not gonna let me in? You absolute honker. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for letting me in. I didn't give him a choice. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't give him a choice. I totally didn't give him a choice. I just pushed it. Right, I'm gonna have to wind this up because I think the police are at the border. So before I get there, I better not be live casting. Take care, everyone. Bye bye. Not touching the phone. I'm touching the area in front of the phone. It can just feel my heat from my finger. That's how it works.